All right, ladies and gentlemen of the YouTube citizens, y'all know who this is. This is your boy Dash True Inferno. Back at it with another Throwback Tunes on another Thursday, and I am reviewing 2001 by Dr. Dre. So this joint came out November 16th, 1999, which is very important for a certain track that I will get to later on. The entire album was recorded in 1999, so that's impressive. And this joint was done under Aftermath Records and Interscope Records, obviously. And the producers involved was Dr. Dre, who was obviously the executive producer, Mailman, Lord Finesse, and Scott Storch. So there you go with that. Now, looking at how well this album did, oh guys, it got a lot of certifications. So let's take a look at this real quick. So it was number 2 on the Billboard 200, number 1 on the top R&B listed by album charts, 26 in the ARIA charts, which is based off of Australia, number 2 on the Canadian album charts, y'all know where that's based from, number 15th on the National Syndicate of Phonographic Publishing, which is basically French, number 20th in the GFK Entertainment charts, or GFK Entertainment, you know, whichever one I'm roll with, that's basically Germany, 7th on the Ireland charts, which is the Irish album chart, 17th on the Dutch charts, or the GFK Dutch chart, or the Mega charts, which is based in what is that? Oh yeah, the Netherlands. 17th on the Recorded Music NZ, New Zealand, obviously. 36th on the Swiss Hit Parade, Switzerland, and 4th on the official album charts, which is based in the UK. It sold around 7.9 million copies in the United States, about 1,377,672 copies in the UK. Now, it was 6-time platinum in the RIAA, double platinum in the ARIA, 4-time platinum rather in the BPI, gold in the BVMI, that's a new one. I don't know what that is, but that's interesting. Gold in the ILPI SWI, that's another new one as well. It was 5 times platinum in the MC, double platinum RMNZ, that's a new one, that sounds like New Zealand, yes it is, and gold in the SNEP. So this album, charts rise, certifications rise, and even sales, his best one to date. Well, actually I take that back, charts rise not his best one to date, but yeah, second best to date, charts rise, but in terms of sales and certifications, this is his best one to date. So there you go with that. All right, let's move on. Any more albums? So, or infrared, and we do. So, check this out. The album was initially titled Chronic 2000 until Priority Records, who had become Death Row Records' new distributor, decided, in conjunction with Death Row's founder and then CEO Suge Knight, to call their compilation album Chronic 2000. Death Row owned the trademark for the Chronic as their Interscope Records, who previously distributed Death Row. Knight was tipped off about the name of Dr. Dre's album since notification of the trademark use was required by his label Aftermath Records. When Aftermath found out that Priority and Death Row planned to use the same name for their album, Dre sought legal action. According to his lawyer, Howard King, both sides agreed that we're allowed the other to use the title and then let the public decide which one they preferred. After the release of Chronic 2000, they announced that Dr. Dre's album would now be named Chronic 2001. Shortly after, Interscope began a big budget promotional campaign for Chronic 2001. At this point, Priority decided not to honor the original agreement and threatened to sue Dre if the Chronic trademark were to be used in any capacity. Dre eventually decided to release the album as simply 2001. So there you go with that. In an interview with the New York Times, Dr. Dre spoke about his motivation to record the album and how he felt that he had to prove himself to fans and media again after doubts arose over his production and rapping ability. Those doubts came from the fact that he had not released a solo album since The Chronic, which was back in 1992. So we're talking about nearly 10 years ago. And he said this: For the last couple of years, there's been a lot of talk out on the streets about whether or not I can still hold my own, whether or not I'm still good at producing. That was the ultimate motivation for me. Magazines, word of mouth, and rap tabloids were saying I didn't have it anymore. What more do I need to do? How many platinum records have I made? Okay, here's the album. Now, what do you have to say? The album was intended to be released as a mixtape with tracks linked through interludes and turntable effects, but was then changed to be set up like a film. Dre stated, everything you hear is planned. It's a movie with different varieties of situations. So you got build-ups, touching moments, aggressive moments. You even got a pause for porno. It got everything that a movie needs. Speaking of how he did not record the album for a club or radio play, and then he planned the album simply for entertainment with commercial aspects throughout. He commented, and I quote here, "I'm not trying to send out any messages or anything with this record. I'm just basically do hardcore hip hop, technically rap or whatever, and try to add a touch of dark comedy here and there." Eminem. A lot of times the media just takes this and tries to make it into something else when it's all entertainment first. You shouldn't take it too seriously. That's pretty much what he said about that. And not much further info is present in regards to that. But there's some more that I personally have about this album, but we'll get more on that later. So there's 22 tracks. Now out of these 22 tracks, there are a grand total of 3, 4, I believe 5 skits. Yes, 5 skits. So 17 of these tracks are actual songs, which means I can still give you guys a top 5 and obviously not a top 3. So here we go. The first track is the intro. It's called Lolo, L-O-L-O, featuring Exhibit and Trey D. D-E-E-E. There's 3 E's in that name. So that's the first the first skit rather, the intro. Second track is called The Rocher. And yeah, that's actually there's actually a grand total of 4 singles on this album, and then we got info on a 5th track actually, but we get more of that later. The third track is called, and actually before I move on, out of all the tracks, this is the only track that Dre did on his own. Even though you heard some Eminem vocals in this joint, but in terms of like him being credited and stuff like that, this is the only track off this entire album he did on his own. Every other track have a feature, which is crazy to me. And let's move on. Track number 3 is called Fuck You. No slang or anything like that, no weird spelling or anything like that. This one features Devin, the Dude, and Snoop Dogg. Oh, it's better to hear Snoop Dogg's name a lot throughout this album, by the way. Track number 4 is called Still Dre. Dre abbreviated, featuring, you guessed it, Snoop Dogg. And obviously you should know who it features, because this one is another one of the singles. Now here's the interesting note, in case you don't know, Jay-Z was a ghostwriter for this one. So that's very interesting. Track number 5 is called Big Egos, featuring Hitman. Hittman. Oh, expect to hear that name a lot as well. Followed by Explosive, Explosive, by the way, featuring Hitman. Yep, there you go with that. Corrupt, Nate Dogg, and 6'2". Oh, expect to see that name Hitman a lot. I think I said it already, but yeah, there you go. Perfect example right there. Track number 7 is called What's the Difference, featuring Eminem and Exhibit. Followed by another skit, which is called Bar 1, then parentheses skit, featuring Tracy Nelson, Miss Rock, R.O.Q., and Eddie Griffin. Believe it or not, expect to hear that name one more time. Track number 9 is called Light Speed, featuring Hitman. Followed by Forgot About Dre, which is another single off this album. Followed by track number 11, which is called The Next Episode, featuring Snoop Dogg, which is again another single. Track number 12 is called Let's Get High, featuring Hitman, Corrupt, and Miss Rock. Followed by Bitch Niggas, AZ at the end, featuring Snoop Dogg, Hitman, and 6'2". Next up is another skit called The Car Bomb, parentheses skit, featuring Mailman and Charis Henry, Charis. Probably butchered that first name, but what else? So there you go with that. Track number 15 is called Mother Inc., featuring Hitman and Miss Rock. Followed by Education, ED, and then that's the traction line, then capital U-cation, featuring Eddie Griffin, and this is actually another skit. Track number 17 is called Some LA Niggas, AZ at the end of niggas, and LA is abbreviated, featuring Hitman, Defari, Exhibit, Nocturnal, Time Bomb, King T, MC Ren, and Cocaine with a K, K-O-K-A-N-E. Track number 18 is the last skit off this album, Pause for Porno, which is in the word skit parentheses, featuring Jake Steed. Next up, track number 19 is called Housewife, featuring Corrupt and Hitman. And I'm gonna explain something to you about this track right here, right now. Hitman, or Housewife rather, this is the same track that Corrupt performed on his album, The Streets Is a Mother. And in his version, his is called Hoes a Housewife. Now, aside from the title, another difference is in Dre's version, it's just the song. But in Corrupt's version, it started off with like a little skit at the beginning of the track, and then it went on with the song. And so since this is the exact same song, I looked to see, okay, that's interesting. And then it occurred to me, both of these albums, 2001 and The Streets Is a Mother, both came out on the same day, November 16th. So I find that to be very interesting. I was pretty shocked when I saw that. I was like, oh my gosh. And also keep in mind is this, Corrupt have another track on his first album, the one he released prior to The Streets Is a Mother, and that one's called Hoes a Housewife. So if you missed my Throwback Tunes video when I talked about Corruption and The Streets Is a Mother, those are two different beats, two different tracks, and two different features. But Dre's version, which is called Housewife, and Corrupt's version, which is called Hoes a Housewife, that's the exact same track again. One, Corrupt's version had a skit at the beginning, and that's pretty much the difference. So, very interesting stuff about Do Say So myself. Also, I'll get to the other notes about some of these other tracks later. Track number 20 is called Act Right, A-C-K-R-I-T-E, all one word, featuring Hitman, followed by Bang Bang featuring Nocturnal and Hitman. Track number 22, the last track off this album, is called The Message / Outro. So technically this is two tracks in one. The first part is the song, which features Mary J. Blige and Rel, and then the second part was just him talking at the end. So basically the skit at the end. So there you go with that. All right. So I mentioned that Still Dre was ghostwritten by Jay-Z. What the difference contained additional vocals from Fish, P-H-I-S-H. The next episode contained additional vocals from Corrupt and Nate Dogg. Obviously, y'all should know about that Nate Dogg part at the end with the smoke weed every day. Some LA niggas contain uncredited vocals from Hitman, and the message contains hidden vocals from Tommy Chong. So let's get on with the singles now. So the first single is Still Dre. This joint came out November 2nd, 1999, and it was recorded in 1998. So this, and we all know about this one. Yes, there is a music video for this as well. And okay, the charts aren't bad actually. And this song actually is featured in the crime drama thriller Training Day, in the in-game radio station West Coast Classics, and the video game Grand Theft Auto 5, along with the next episode. It was also featured on the American drama series Prison Break. So all good information there. Now let's take a look at the charts real quick. 29th in France, 14th in Ireland, 10th in Scotland. It was number 1 in the UK this ain't an R&B track. Whereas number 1 in the UK R&B chart. 6th on the UK singles chart, 93rd on the US Billboard Hot 100, 32nd on the US Hot R&B / Hip Hop Songs charts, 11th on the US Hot Rap Songs charts, and 29th on the US Rhythms chart. By the end of the year, this is interesting. By the end of the year, 2019, it was 929th out in Portugal. That is very interesting. And it was gold in Germany and platinum in the United Kingdom, but it did not do that in the US, which is very interesting, if I do say so myself. Oh, but here's some background info in regards to this album. So after he released The Chronic back in 92, Dre went 7 years without releasing an album. During this time, he featured on the Billboard Hot 100 charts toppers California Love and No Diggity, while also producing Snoop Dogg and Eminem's debut studio albums Doggy Style and the Slim Shady LP, respectively. The stakes were high for the sequel to The Chronic, so Dr. Dre recruited Jay-Z to ghostwrite lyrics for the former's comeback single, Still Dre. At first, he wrote about diamonds and Bentleys, Dre told Blaze Magazine in 99. So I told Jay to write some other shit. Jigga sat for 20 minutes and came back with some hard-ass around the Ray LA shit. In an interview on The Breakfast Club, Snoop Dogg elaborated on Jay-Z's contributions on the song. And I'm quoting here, "He wrote Dre's shit and my shit and it was flawless," he said. "It was still Dre and it was Jay-Z and he wrote the whole fucking song." So that's very interesting to know. I heard about that a while back, but it was always on the back of my mind, so I tend to forget that actually Jay-Z did ghostwrite this song. But I didn't know how much of it that he ghostwritten. But the next single is Forgot About Dre. So I'm pretty sure to say that most of you guys should be familiar with every single off of this album. So this joint came out March 28th of the year 2000. So what I find interesting is that only one single came out before his album dropped, and then the rest of the singles came out afterward, which is rare. I'm used to seeing 2 singles come out before the album drop at least, and then, you know, whatever. But yeah, this is pretty crazy right here. All right, let's move on. So, came out March 28th of the year 2000, featuring Eminem, and this is to some degree like a somewhat of a real introduction to Eminem, if you want to go that route. So, the single won Best Rap Performance by a Duo or Group at the 2001 Grammy Awards, and it sampled the No Doubt song Decline, which is interesting. Yes, there is a music video for this as well. And the song is considered a response to diss tracks made by Death Row artists on Suge Knight's Represents Chronic 2000. You know what? We may have to listen to that album. A compilation released by Suge Knight, which takes its title from Dre's 1992 album, The Chronic. The line, and I quote here, "Who you think brought you the oldies, Eazy-E's, Ice Cubes, and DOC's, the Snoop D.O.G.'s, and the group that says motherfuck the police," outlines Dre's importance in the rap world, the theme of the song. Eminem's verse featured the bizarre, violent, and aggressive typical of his Slim Shady alter ego. In an interview, Kendrick Lamar stated this and 6ix9ine's verse from Explosive tied for the best verses in the 2001 album. So that's pretty crazy right there. All right, let's take a look at the charts. So it was 41st in Germany, 20th in Ireland, 19th in the Netherlands, 26th in New Zealand, 29th in Sweden, 37th in Switzerland, 3rd in the UK R&B charts, 7th in the UK singles charts, 25th in the US Billboard Hot 100, 14th in the US Hot R&B/Hip Hop Songs charts, 32nd in the US Pop Songs charts, 3rd in the US Rhythm Top 40, and by the end of the year 2000, it was 73rd on the US Billboard Hot 100 charts, and it was gold in Denmark and platinum in the United Kingdom. So gold with 45,000 copies sold and platinum with 600,000 copies sold. And actually, let me back up to Still Dre. I forgot to mention those numbers. It was gold in Germany with 250,000 copies sold and platinum in the UK with 600,000 copies sold. Let's move on to the next episode. This joint came out June 26th of the year 2000. So this joint features Snoop Dogg, Corrupt, and Nate Dogg, but only Snoop Dogg is credited, which is interesting. And this is a sequel to Dre's and Snoop's favorite single, Nothing But a G Thing, from the former debut album, The Chronic, which is very interesting as well. So check this out. Dre's verse was written by then Aftermath artists Hitman, The Dogg, and Miss Rock. And it was produced by Dre and fellow Aftermath producer Mailman, obviously. So there you go with that. The song has many references to Tupac's California Love, which he did with Dre while at Death Row, and To Live and Die in LA. Originally listed on the back cover of Doggy Style as the THA Next Episode, the original version of the song was by Snoop Dogg featuring Dre and had a much different beat and different lyrics. The original was 4 minutes 36 seconds long and referred to Dr. Dre's Nothing But a G Thing numerous times. The background of the original was later used on Warren G's Running With No Brakes on the Regulate G-Funk Era album. Did I review that? I don't know if I reviewed that or not. So yeah, and again, there's a music video for this as well. And there were some remixes. A remix with the same name by Snoop Dogg Lil Mo appeared on the mixtape DJ Fairly Fell featuring Snoop Dogg, The Heavy Hitters, which was released in the year 2002. A remix with the music from Paradise City by Guns N' Roses is available unofficially. And then there was a version dubbed by The Game as a diss track towards 50 Cent was released in 2005. A remix entitled TNE 2006 was released to radio airplay in 2006. It features Snoop Dogg and Nate Dogg. Joe Budden rapped over the beat doing an appearance on DJ Green Lantern's Sirius satellite radio show with Charles Hamilton. The Prize Fighter remix was released in 2002 featuring Pac, DMX, and Nas. And Joe Wicker, the drummer for Red, is known to perform this song among other popular rap and hip hop songs live in concert in a medley. A version in Arabic appeared in the 2012 film The Dictator, performed by Iowa, AIWA, Mr. Tibbs, what is he at the end, 2 B's, TIBBZ, and actor Sacha Baron Cohen as the film's title character, Admiral General Aladdin. In November 2014, trap music producer Sean Harlow released a remix of the song, which has since gained over 220 million views on YouTube. A version by Lyric Jones, Rod Digger, and Mark Batson appeared in the 2018 film Dude. Wow. So let's take a look at the charts. It was 56 in Austria, 6 on the Belgium Ultra Tip Flanders, 9th on the Belgium Ultra Tip Wallonia, 22nd in France, 34th in Germany, 11th in Ireland, 28th in the Netherlands Dutch Top 40, 26th in the Netherlands Singles Top 100, 7th in Scotland, 34th in Switzerland, 3rd in the UK Singles Charts, 13th in the UK Dance Charts, 2nd in the UK R&B chart. Again, this is not an R&B track. 23rd on the US Billboard Hot 100 charts, and 11th on the US Hot R&B/Hip Hop Songs charts. By the end of the year 2000, it was 76 on the US Billboard Hot 100 and 49th on the US R&B/Hip Hop Songs charts. By the end of the year 2001, it was 79th on the UK Singles charts. And here we go again. By the end of the year 2019, it was 2,492nd on the Portugal's charts. So that's crazy. And it was gold in both Germany and Italy with 250,000 copies sold in Germany, 25,000 copies sold in Italy, and it was platinum in the UK with 600,000 copies sold there. Now, the fourth and final single off this album is called The Watcher. Came out in it was recorded in 1999, excuse me, but it came out in February 27th, 2001. So, there you go with that. And this one features vocals from Eminem and Nocturnal, who sings the hook. The song talks about Dre's rap career, and what he's been through. It also mentions former NWA bandmate Eazy-E and his death. Now, for those of you that don't know, Jay-Z released a sequel titled The Watcher 2 on his 2002 album, The Blueprint 2, The Gifts and the Curse. Jay-Z version was also produced by Dr. Dre and features vocals from Rakim and Troop Hurts. And then a year later in 2003, Dre and Snoop Dogg will release another version called The Watcher Part 3 on the mixtape DJ Jam Presents W Balls with a Z 187.4 FM Volume 1. The track on the B-side, Bad Guys Always Die, originally appeared on the soundtrack to the 1999 Will Smith film Wild Wild West. So that's interesting. One of Dr. Dre's lines were later interpolated as the chorus for Hello, which is an Ice Cube song. So there you go with that. And it was 47 out in France. That's the only chart that it did. So there you go with that. Now, the last track I'm going to talk about is Explosive. So this is not a single. However, here's the interesting thing about this track. And actually, I want to throw this out as well. The track is based upon the song Bumpy Lament by Soul Man and the Brothers. The original title was The Way I Be Pimpin', which featured Royce da 5'9" on the chorus and Dre rapping the verse. So here's the deal. Dre did not rap on Explosive. Instead, the song features Corrupt, Nate Dogg, Hitman, and 6ix9ine. In the first verse, Hitman raps about how pimpin' has made him a changed man due to, quote, all the girls, end quote, saying, and I quote again at this part here, now his shit's the bomb, end quote, after claiming that, quote again, girls used to turn him back, end quote. Corrupt, Nate Dogg, and 6ix9ine's verses deal with how good they are at pimping, how many girls they can get, and how much money they make through pimping. The Way I Be Pimpin', the original version of the song prior to Explosive, basically had the same concepts as Explosive with different lyrics, obviously. And it did make the charts, even though it's not a single. It was 51st on the US Billboard Hot R&B/Hip Hop Songs charts. So there you go with that. And also the song has been sampled. In case y'all wondering if y'all heard this, the song has been sampled by Erykah Badu for a remix of her song Bad Lady, as well as by Lil Wayne for his song Dope Niggas with a Z at the end, featuring Snoop Dogg from his acclaimed album The Carter Volume 5, or The Carter 5 rather. So there you go with that. Alright, with all that out the way, let me give you guys my favorite tracks off this album from worst to first. So, and as before that, the beat used in Education is borderline cool / really cool. So with that out the way, now let's talk about the rest of this track, or album rather. Let's Get High is the worst track off this album, but this is for the most part by comparison. The tempo is really cool. The melody is straight / cool, so it's borderline there. The bass is borderline cool / really cool. The kick is cool, same with the snare. Overall, the track is cool. Next up is Fuck You. The tempo is cool. The melody is borderline cool / really cool. The bass is really cool though. The kick was just cool. The snare is borderline cool / really cool. Overall, the track is still cool as it starts at the 17-second mark. Those two are the only two tracks that I would consider just cool. Next up is The Message. Really, The Message. I ain't gonna talk about the outro. Mellow out track right here. The tempo is cool. The melody is really cool. The bass is borderline cool / really cool. The kick is really cool. The snare is borderline cool / really cool. Overall, the track is really cool. Next up is Light Speed. The tempo is really cool. The melody is cool / really cool. The bass is really cool. Same with the kick. The snare is borderline cool / really cool. The track is really cool, as I could picture Mobb Deep getting in on this track in the late 90s, early 2000s. I can like genuinely picture that. Next up is Some LA Niggas. The tempo is cool. Melody is borderline cool / really cool. The bass is really cool. The kick is cool / really cool. The snare is really cool. Overall, the track is really cool. Then we got Act Right. Tempo is borderline cool / really cool. The melody is really cool due to the hook. Otherwise, it would just be cool. The bass is borderline cool / really cool. The kick is the same as well, cool / really cool. The snare is really cool though. The track is really cool nevertheless. Then we got Forgot About Dre. The beat pattern is really cool. The tempo is really cool. The melody is borderline cool / really cool. The bass is really cool. The kick is cool. The snare is borderline cool / really cool. Overall, the track is really cool. Then we got Explosive. The tempo is cool. The melody is really cool, especially the hook. The bass is cool. The kick is really cool. Same with the snare. Overall, the track is really cool. Then we got Big Egos. The tempo is cool. The melody is really cool. Same with the bass. The kick was just cool. The snare is really cool. Overall, the track is really cool. Then we got What's the Difference. The tempo is cool. The melody is really cool. The bass is just cool. The kick is really cool. Same with the snare. Overall, the track is really cool. Then we got Murder Inc. The tempo is cool. The melody is really cool. The bass is cool. Kick is really cool. Same with the snare. And the snare is really powerful as well, by the way. And the track is really cool. Now, the thing about Murder Inc. Oh, not Murder Inc., but What's the Difference? Excuse me. Let me backtrack to What's the Difference. If you were to go on YouTube and look up the Bill Cosby Pokemon rap, there you go. The same beat was used for that. That song is very hilarious. It's pretty funny. It still holds up to this day as well. Pretty funny stuff, if you ask me. And next up, we got The Next Episode, which is the 6th best track off this album. The tempo is really cool. Same with the melody. The bass was just cool. The kick is borderline cool / really cool. The snare is really cool. Overall, the track is really cool. Now it's time for the top 5. 5th best track off this album is Bitch Niggas. This is a smooth track right here. The tempo is cool. Melody is really cool. Same with the bass and the kick and the snare. Overall, this track is really cool. 4th best track off this album, Still DRE or Still Dre. The tempo is really cool. The melody is excellent. The bass is cool. Excuse me. Same with the kick. The snare is borderline cool / really cool. Overall, this track is really cool. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna change that. I'm gonna say Still Dre is the 5th best track off this album, and Bitch Niggas is the 4th best track off this album. 3rd best track off this album, Bang Bang. The tempo is really cool. The melody is borderline cool / really cool. The bass is really cool. Same with the kick. The snare is borderline cool / really cool. Overall, the track is really cool. And you know what? We're gonna do another switch as well. Wow, I'm really messed this up. Bitch Niggas is the 3rd best track off this album. Bang Bang is the 4th best track off this album. And Still Dre is the 5th best track off this album. 2nd best track off this album is The Roger. The tempo is really cool. Same with the melody. The bass is borderline cool / really cool. The kick is really cool. The snare is excellent. And overall, the track is really cool. Number 1 track off this album without question is Housewife. This is a smooth trap, obviously. And basically, it's the same review as I gave it when I reviewed The Streets Is a Murder by Corrupt. When I reviewed that version off of that album. This is a smooth track, like I said. The tempo is really cool. The melody is excellent. The bass is really cool. The kick is borderline cool / really cool. The snare is really cool. Overall, the track is really cool. So there you go with that. Housewife is the best track off this album, followed by The Roger. Then is Bitch Niggas. Then is Bang Bang. And Still Dre is the 5th best track off this album. Now, with all of that out the way, it's now time for some professional ratings. All Music gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Same with the Encyclopedia of Popular Music. Entertainment Weekly gave it an A-. LA Titans gave it 3.5 out of 4 stars. NME gave it a 6 out of 10. Q gave it 3 out of 5 stars. The Rolling Stones Album Guide gave it 4 out of 5 stars. The Source gave it a 4.5 out of 5. Spin gave it a 7 out of 10. And The Vidder's Voice gave it a C. Alright, so what do I think about this album? Okay, let's be honest here. This is a 5 out of freaking 5 right here. There's a lot of classics on this album that were top 5. So, Still Dre, obviously top 5. Well, there's only one. And no, there's 2. Still Dre and The Roger. But The Next Episode, obviously top 10. What's the Difference? Obviously top 10. Explosive is top 10 as well. And Forgot About Dre barely missed out. There was only 2 tracks that was considered cool. Everything else was really cool. This is a 5 out of 5. But I will say this. Even though this is a great album, phenomenal album, you should have a physical copy of this album. I say all those things, but The Chronic is still better. And I gave The Chronic a 5 out of 5 as well. So, both of Dre's first 2 albums, he have 3 by the way. Both of Dre's first 2 albums, they are 5 out of 5. But I would choose The Chronic over 2001. But do not sleep on 2001. So, yeah. I'm gonna call it a wrap. And with all that said, y'all know who this is. This is boy New J Gatsby, aka the new Steve Smith, saying peace out, y'all, and I'll see y'all next time. Yeah.